Welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sports Line live in the BP TV studios. Thank you for watching us on Comcast 7, locally only available in Bethel Park. We appreciate you. And then on Verizon, you can see us everywhere from Nemacolin to Cranberry, Wexford, and all points in between the greater Pittsburgh area. A lot of great feedback. Appreciate all those likes. Speaking of likes, we're holding around 6,408. We dropped a few from last week, Chip. It happens. Like they said, some people have hate. They got to go somewhere else.
I know, man.
We don't want to be great.
No, we don't want to be 8-8 either.
No, definitely. So, I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. Smoking Jim Frazier had a prior commitment, and he won't be able to be on the show. He cannot make it. Chip Hayner's with me right next to me. We just had our pizza from Olive Oil's Pizzeria at Hillcrest Shopping Center, 412-831-1900. You can check them out. And great pizza. A lot of great people come in. When I talk to them coming in, they love ordering the pizza and all the different varieties from salads to hoagies. So check it out. It's again 412-831-1900. Thanks again to Frank. He's going to have a new general manager named Kenny. And so give him a call, 412-831-1900. Since I got Devin in here on close-ups, we'll do one more with the Joey Favis Childhood Cancer Foundation. This is Joey before with DIPG and then afterwards. It's a dreaded brain cancer. It's terrible. You can donate as little as $1 to Joey Favis Childhood Cancer Foundation. They got different events coming up, different things coming up in March. They're going to talk about that. They're coming out with their information, so check it out. Joey Favis Childhood Cancer Foundation. All right. We always start our show with what's on your mind, and we're going to do that tonight. We won't have Smoking Jim and his whatever's what's on his mind. It's usually pretty exciting. He's quite the entertainer.
It's always memorable.
Yeah,
so let's give him that.
Sometimes it's repetitive. Chip and I have heard it over the last 4 years, 5 years of shows here, so you just never know what we'll get from him. So I'm going to start with Chip Hayner. What's on your mind?
Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you very much, Alan. Welcome to our humble show this evening. And, you know, my dear friend Jim Frazier is not with us in the studio tonight, but he's with us in spirit. And his spirit being here, you know, I just wanted to go ahead and pull the race card today. Because no episode would be complete without it. The Daytona 500 was run on Sunday. It was 6 hours of television coverage. I watched the last 15 minutes, saw everything I needed to see. The last lap, the guy that won the race didn't lead a single race in the lap, or didn't lead a single lap in the race. Oh, and he wins the race. So, hey, congratulations to
I don't want any explanations. I missed the race.
Who won the race by default, I guess. He was like one of the last men standing, but that's all. That's as far as we're going to get as far as race goes this week. Pirates have started off with their spring training. Things are moving along well. There's really nothing to report. I mean, what would you expect from the first week of spring training? The team's
A few wins.
They got tattooed today by the Toronto Blue Jays. They lost 12-0. But they were 3-1 prior to that. And, you know, this is the way spring baseball is. Everybody's getting a chance to get on the mound, throw some pitches. One person who seems to be a little bit of a disappointment and seems to be grading downward is Jared Hughes, who's been with the Pirates since 2011. I don't know if we're going to see him make it out of spring training this year. The one fortunate thing about him is they don't have to worry about keeping him on the 25-man roster because he still does have minor league options.
He's got minor league eligibility,
so,
yes.
you know, we've got that. Then
we like that.
And also, what's on my mind is we've got 24 hours or less before the Penguins have to make a decision of whether or not they're going to make a trade to bolster the team for their playoff run. They've been beset by injuries, and Marc-Andre Fleury seems to be the only carrot they've got to dangle. However, it doesn't seem to be that there is much interest around the NHL in Marc-Andre Fleury. As a matter of fact, that one of the more desirable goaltenders was traded yesterday by Tampa Bay, Ben Bishop.
Yeah, I saw it.
You know, and it doesn't seem like their people were lining up to have Marc-Andre Fleury as their starting goaltender, which kind of perplexes me, you know, because we're homers. We love our, our Pittsburgh players. Marc-Andre's always going to have a spot in Pittsburgh's heart because he won the 2009 Stanley Cup championship. Previous year to that, 2008, he took them to the finals.
Yeah.
But at some point, we are going to lose him sometime between now and June, and the question remains to be seen: will we get anything for him, or will he just become a huge paycheck on somebody else's roster? So that's what's on my mind for right now. I'll leave the rest of it for our segments.
All right. We'll
talk
Penguins later on. And what's on my mind is hockey this week. The stadium had the hockey event with the Philadelphia Flyers. What a better night to have the temperature drop. The ice was hard. It was a great game. I watched the whole game. 4-2 win by the Penguins. Sidney Crosby got the first goal to start it up. I mean, it just looked like they had some fun out there. And, you know, I'm not a big pro stadium games because of the warm weather that's come about and just the sight lines and things like that. But Devin Shea showed me some photos for where he sat.
They were
from
good
the
seats.
Bleacher seats, and he actually
they were good seats.
Took some nice photos there.
Yes, he did.
Glad he got there, and the military got free tickets, so he took advantage of that.
And he deserves them.
And like he said, he serves our country. What better way to see a game but a free game? So I just stayed home and watched it. That wind was whirling and swirling.
Oh, yes, it was.
It was amazing with just how windy the day was. And look at this Pittsburgh weather. We've been blessed this winter. A lack of snow and precipitation, and in the 60s tomorrow. So can't beat this stuff.
They say March comes in like a lion and goes out like a lamb, and I have a feeling this March may be slightly different.
70 degrees tomorrow.
I work outside, and there's nothing I like more than being able to get out the door on March 1st to be able to start doing what we do, and I have a feeling that we're going to see snow cover at some point in March. Don't know exactly when, but remember one thing: winter isn't over yet.
Well, the nice thing is you get into March and you get snow, except for the blizzard that we had, back in '93 or whatever.
Oh, yeah, I remember it.
They don't last more than a couple days. And we got 70 coming up tomorrow with some rain, so we'll leave it at that. And I get to give a shout-out to the Zazu for Marianne cutting my hair. I was there. Posted a photo up there on Facebook because the one lady, Mia, one of the receptionists, is leaving. That was her last day today. So thanks again to Zazu. Always a pleasure meeting Emilio, and we'll get you on a show sometime, Emilio, maybe talking baseball since I heard you were a pitcher. And that's it for the segment right now. We're going to come back after a commercial break. Don't change that dial. Chief, thanks for the shout-out. Enjoy your dessert right now because we'll be back with our features coming up right next.
I've shown an interest in making home movies. Me and some buddies would just grab a camera and you just start making these videos, and then you realize at some point that this isn't just a hobby anymore. It's something that you actually want to pursue, and there's this great facility right down the road, BPTV. A lot of people will try to do these productions on their own, and one of the things they don't have is the equipment, but right here is everything that you need in one nice little bundle. There's lights, cameras, reflectors, dollies, all kinds of little knickknacks, like anything that you'd want to use that you would need for a production, you have it right here. Like, it's all right here. You can make your own feature movie just with the stuff from this studio. Come meet Dave Cable, let him show you around, and I think you'll realize that this is something that you could fall into regardless of your level of expertise, whether you're a beginner or even if you're a more advanced learner. There's something here for everyone, and I feel that you just need to come through and just be a part of the experience and just watch and learn, and let Dave be your guide.
One of the things we do at BPTV is encourage our producers to film on location. Not only does shooting on location give our producers the opportunity to take advantage of their subject matter, filming in different locations gives each program its own distinct flavor. This also helps anyone who's flipping through the channels avoid confusion when they turn on BPTV. With around 500 programs produced at BPTV each year, the last thing we want people to think is that we're only broadcasting one program. So, you need to come into BPTV to pitch your TV show, but in terms of where you actually end up taping your show, the sky's the limit.
All right, we're back with Chip's Trivia Time. Here we go, folks. Let's hear what you have, Chip.
Okay, I had to dig deep this week. There's really not a whole lot going on in the sports world. You had the Daytona 500, but how many racing fans do we really have?
Hey, they're out there.
They're out there, and I don't want to disparage them. So, I got to thinking, what is going on with my Buccos this year that is of note? And the one thing that I could think of was that a fair number of players for the Pirates will be playing in the World Baseball Classic. Yeah. Okay? And this is happening during spring training. So this is happening during the time when, you're team building and you're working on getting your Warriors together to go to battle. April the 3rd.
There's a lot of pros and cons about this.
And there's a lot of... So that led me to think, well, what the heck is this World Baseball Classic? It's not something that has a storied history. And Major League Baseball's been around almost 150 years.
How long has this been out there?
Well, glad you asked that question, Alan. So I did some research about the World Baseball Classic, and I'm going to shed some light on the World Baseball Classic and its significance or lack of significance, depending on what your point of view is.
I can't wait to hear.
It's an international baseball tournament sanctioned from 2006 to 2013 by the International Baseball Federation. After 2013, by the World Baseball Softball Confederation.
Wow, what a mouthful.
I don't understand why, but this is the information I have. It was proposed by the IBAF, by Major League Baseball, the Major League Baseball's Players Association, and other professional baseball leagues and their players' associations around the world. It is the main baseball tournament sanctioned by WBSC, which grants to the winner the title of World Champion. And you know that if you win the championship of Major League Baseball, you're the World Series champion. So this would be a true World Championship.
Wow.
It previously coexisted with the Olympic baseball until 2008 and the Baseball World Cup until 2011 as IBAF sanctioned tournaments, but baseball has not been on the Olympic program since 2008. After it was voted out by the IOC in 2005. The final Men's Baseball World Cup was held in 2011 and was discontinued to streamline the international calendar. The 2013 Classic, the third edition of the event, was won by the Dominican Republic in an all-Caribbean World Baseball Classic final.
Wow.
The tournament is the first of its kind to have national teams featuring professional players from major leagues around the world, including Major League Baseball. In addition to providing a format for the best players in the world to compete against one another while representing their home countries, the World Baseball Classic was created in order to further promote the game around the globe. Now, After a 3-year gap between the first two installments of the tournament, 2006, 2009, the World Baseball Classic replaced every 4 years following the 2009 event. The third installment was held in 2013. The next is scheduled this month. Well, in the month of March. I'm still
2017.
Yeah, so it's modeled after the FIFA World Cup, which is the World Cup of Soccer. Right. And organized in large part as a response to the IOC committee's decision to remove baseball as an Olympic sport. Okay. In fact, the final series in 2006 and 2009 rank among the highest rated sporting events in Japanese television history.
Where is Smoking Jim when you need him?
And you may ask, why? Pretty good question to ask. In the 2006 tournament, South Korea advanced to the semifinals with an undefeated 6-0 record, but was defeated by Japan, which had lost twice to South Korea in the earlier rounds for a berth in the final game.
Wow.
Cuba defeated the Dominican Republic for the other berth in the final game. Japan defeated Cuba 10-6 for the first championship. In 2009, the controversial round-robin format from 2006 was replaced by a modified double elimination format for the first two rounds. The semifinals and final game remained single elimination. The 8 teams advancing from the first round were the same as in 2006, except for a Cinderella performance by the Netherlands, which twice defeated the Dominican Republic to reach the second round. In the semifinals, South Korea defeated Venezuela, while Japan defeated the United States. Japan then emerged victorious for the second straight World Baseball Classic Championship, winning the final game over South Korea 5-3. So this has now got my interest piqued because, this would be kind of like, the American men's basketball team losing the gold medal. We invented the game.
Right.
Somebody else is winning these world championships.
Netherlands, though, I have a question. With the way their weather is, how are they playing baseball up there?
Good question.
Yeah.
I don't have an answer. Although the 2006,
I didn't expect one.
2009 editions of the WBC were contested by the same pre-selected field of 16 teams. For the 2013 tournament, only 12 teams that won at least one game in 2009 were guaranteed a berth. The other 4 contested a qualifying round in late 2012, along with 12 additional teams. As a result, 2 new teams competed for the first time, Brazil and Spain replacing Panama and Puerto Rico in the final. The Dominican Republic also became the first team to win the tournament in 2013 with a perfect 8-0 record. Okay.
What else do you got?
So, well, there's more information here. So there's a total of 16 teams in the tournament, 16 teams this year. The final host city for the championship games this year will be in Los Angeles. 2006 it was in San Diego. 2009 it was in Los Angeles. And 2013 it was in San Francisco. And that was the year the Dominican beat Puerto Rico. Not once has the United States played at the World Baseball Classic final.
Wow. How could this even happen?
That should be getting people fired up. I hope I'm getting, break out the red, white, and blue. Let's wave the flag. Let's root these on. So I know some of this is repetitive. The 2 teams to have won the tournament are Japan and the Dominican Republic. Other teams to have reached the championship game are Cuba, Puerto Rico, and South Korea. Other teams to have reached the semifinals are the Netherlands, the United States, and Venezuela, even though the United States' best finish was a 4th place finish, which doesn't even give them a medal.
No, that's not good.
The winner gets a gold, the second place silver, third place gets a bronze. Most valuable player, the most significant award for individual performance during the tournament is the MVP. The same player won the MVP the first 2 years.
Wow.
I will refer to him by his nickname, Daisuke Matsuzaki. Pitcher for Japan, pitched 13 innings, finished with a 3-0 record in 2006. Shortly afterwards, he received a multi-million-dollar contract to join the Boston Red Sox.
Wow.
He pitched again in 2009. Again, he went 3-0, won the MVP of the Baseball Classic. And in 2013, the highest paid second baseman in baseball, Robinson Cano, won the MVP for the Dominican with 2 home runs and 6 RBIs over the course of the tournament. So the rules of play, in addition to the standard rules of baseball, the World Baseball Classic employs the following. Pitchers are on pitch counts. A pitcher cannot pitch more than 85 pitches per game in a qualifying round of the 2017 tournament, 65 pitches per game in the first round of the 2013 tournament, 80 pitches per game in the second round of the 2013 tournament, or 95 pitches per game in the championship round of the 2013 tournament. So pitchers cannot exceed these pitch limits. Now, if they hit these pitch limits while in the course of an at-bat, they can finish the at-bat with that pitcher, with that batter. A pitcher can still finish the batter's plate appearance even if the limit is reached, but must come out after completing the plate appearance. A pitcher cannot pitch until a minimum of 4 days have passed since he last pitched if he threw 50 or more pitches when he last pitched. A minimum of 1 day has passed since he last pitched if he threw 30 or more pitches when last pitched, or a minimum of 1 day has passed since any second consecutive day when the pitcher pitched. And they're doing this to, I guess, to appease Major League Baseball because they've got a lot of money in guaranteed contracts tied up with these players if they get hurt. Now, they also have mercy rules. Mercy rules. Games are called if one team is ahead by 10 or more runs when the opposing team has batted in at least 7 innings. Okay. And also the game is called if 15 or more, if the team is losing by 15 or more runs when the opposing team has batted in at least 5 innings. Mercy rules do not apply during the championship round. There is a designated hitter. And something that they have decided here that I heard there was some talk about testing in minor league baseball this year, extra innings. Starting with the 13th inning, teams automatically start with runners on first and second base. These are the players in the 2 batting order positions previous to the leadoff batter for that inning. So more than likely they would be the last 2 batters that batted in the inning before. They would start at first and second base. In the qualifying round of the 2017 tournament, extra inning rule will be employed from the 11th inning on. Unlike regular season play, run differential is important to the outcome of these games. Where the number of runs by which a team wins a game is not relevant. That's the way it is in regular season Major League Baseball. Okay. The number of runs by which a WBC team wins may be relevant if a tie later develops in the standings. This caused problems during the 2013 WBC where one game spawned a bench-clearing brawl between Canada and Mexico. Canadian hitter Chris Robinson had bunted for a base hit, causing Mexican pitcher Arnold Leon to throw 3 consecutive pitches at the next batter. And that just goes to show you why you've never seen Mr. Leon pitching in the major leagues. He had 3 shots to hit somebody, and he missed all 3 times. How many strikes do you think he throws? Not enough. Not enough. So, then the next thing they go through is the, a player is eligible to participate. And, basically, either you're, a citizen of a country or whether your parents were citizens of that country, so you've got to have some kind of national connection with the team that you're playing. So
you've piqued my interest with it.
Well, now, and here you go. The total attendance for the games that were played, and a lot of these games are played in the Caribbean. So the weather's nice. In 2006, the total attendance was 737,000, which was an average of 18,900 per game over 39 games. 2009, average attendance of 20,549, and in 2013, the average attendance of 20,037. So it'll be interesting to see how it pans out this year. Will the American team go down? One of the players for the American team this year will be a certain soon-to-be all-star right fielder for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Andrew McCutchen. For the Dominican, we have Gregory Polanco and Starling Marte playing.
Wow.
I believe also Ivan Nova may be pitching for them as well. What's his name? Cervelli. Francisco Cervelli will be playing for the Italian team. So there's quite a number of the Pirates players who will be playing against one another. But I guess, are they going to really be doing anything different than they would be doing in spring training? They're going to be playing baseball, and they're going to be getting themselves into shape.
They might be playing and practicing less, though. That's the only thing I worry about.
Would they be better served building a team with the players that they have here and getting some continuity there?
I'll answer that, yes.
But, that's the argument about it. But that's what the hubbub is about the World Baseball Classic. I was curious to myself as to why they're trying to make this a big deal, but I think the fact that they're doing this in spring training really kind of takes a little something away from it. I think it would be much better if they chose to do it at the, after the season's over, but that's just my humble opinion.
Yeah, who knows with this stuff? There's too much politics in it for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Just like FIFA soccer and things like that. But, hey, thanks for the information, Chip. You got me interested in it. I may watch a game. I don't know.
I'm going to pay attention to the scores, and we'll say, I'm going to be rooting for the Americans. You know me. I'm true blue, and I'm going to wave the red, white, and blue.
Well, it sounds good. We're going to move on. We got On Location coming, but I got a couple features here. The Schoolhouse Arts and History Center. It's the Bethel Park Historical Society. You can donate money towards them. They have this schoolhouse that's right here with the trolley. Here's a little information inside. You can check this stuff out. Again, it's the Bethel Park Historical Society.
That is the place where the trolley sits in front, right on South Park Road?
Okay. Yep. Yeah, they got a lot of things going on there. Took a great tour of it the other day. They got a lot of big plans. Their library, people are donating specific items from the area, coal mining and other type of things at this schoolhouse. So it's pretty cool. And then I always talk about groups in Bethel Park. You got the BPCF Community Foundation. They have from $100 to $5,000 for you to check out. You can go online, get an application, and apply. It's a great group to be on. I'm with a lot of great people in Bethel Park. 25 people are on the board of trustees donating money to help groups in Bethel Park. A lot of great positivity that they do. They gave some money to the fire station with getting computers and a lot of things in the area. They got a plaque for the BPCF to post in there. So a lot of great stuff there. Just check it out online, and that's what I have there for you. On Location, we'll be in Dormont, Hollywood Lanes. We'll be at the Hollywood Lanes Bowling Alley from 7:30 to 8:30. Check it out. We got great guests coming in. We got a basketball team. Cornell High School supposed to be there. We got other great guests. Thanks to Skeets Lewandowski, our boxing guy. He's got a dad that I talked to that has two sons that are wrestling, and we're going to have them on the show. So we've got a lot of great guests coming up. This is 7:30 to 8:30, Monday night, Hollywood Lanes. Check it out. See our shows there. Smoking Jim will be there for sure.
Ready to have some of that macaroni and cheese.
Wow, no mac and cheese on that. We have a guest, Skip Atkins, who's I think he's 82 years old. He's a big fan of our show. He shares stuff.
I remember him. Did we interview him at SIPS?
Yes, and
I remember him very well.
So he likes to treat us with a pizza every so often. He goes to Molly's Pizza right on Potomac Avenue, and he got us a pepperoni pizza. So who knows what we'll get from Skip Atkins. He's a great guy. Loves coming to our shows when he's allowed to stay out that late. Because, you got to get his sleep.
You got to get your beauty sleep. Yeah, you got to get your beauty sleep.
But that's what we have going on Location. We're going to take another break, so don't change that dial. If you're on Comcast 7, stay with us, and Verizon 32. We'll be right back, and we'll be talking some Steelers.
Hi, Bethel Park. Remember me? My name is Jason Planitzer. I was the host of a little show here. You may have seen it. It was called The Jason Planitzer Show.
What would you say your experience at BPTV, how has that had an impact on your life?
I found my voice. I learned how to be funny. I learned how to create things. I learned how to collaborate with people here. I developed an interest in film and comedy and making videos. It stuck with me. It continued through my life. I got into working on motion pictures. I now I'll produce small videos. I'll work with producers on commercials, television projects, feature films. I scout locations on TV shows and movies, which involves me reading scripts, finding the locations that need to be shot, and collaborating with the director and production designer to find the perfect spot. It all started at BPTV for me.
Thank you very much for staying with this show. We appreciate it. Hope you like our new graphics that are out there. Tessa gave us a nice countdown. Thanks, Tessa. We're right spot on. We're going to talk Steelers. As you know, we bleed black and gold, and there's not much happening with the Steelers except for a couple issues. Antonio Brown just signed an extension, 4 more years. He'll be the highest paid.
I think it was actually 5 and 72.
They said 5, but the way it
I
works
think
out, it's like a 4-year.
I think it's a 4-year extension because he's still under contract for next year.
Right.
But they gave him money from previous years for this contract, so he's getting $19 million up
He
front.
got extra money out there.
Yeah, he got $19 million up front. It's going to average, I think, approximately $17 million a year over the term of it.
Which makes him the highest paid receiver. He's got some of the best records in the last 4 years. It's been unbelievable.
And I hope, that Antonio Brown, I don't think that there's anything wrong with the Steelers signing him. He is the hardest worker on the team, and yes, he's been, he's had a few moments of foolishness, but you've never seen him, out at the clubs, being arrested at 3 o'clock in the morning, getting
Not
in
yet.
fights,
No.
and this and that. But I hope that he just sees that, you have a very small window of opportunity here where the Steelers are going to be a team that is really going to be a contender for a Super Bowl championship.
Sure.
And, the more clowning and everything else that you're doing that detracts away from that, I hope that he learned something from watching Tom Brady dismantle the Steelers in Foxborough and then dismantle the Atlanta Falcons after being down by 25 points.
I don't know how you could miss it.
I hope that he's learned something that, time's short. Ben isn't going to be around forever. He's already talking about,
The R word.
the end. So, it's great to hear that the Steelers have signed Antonio Brown, and it's great to hear that they have Le'Veon Bell locked up for a year. I don't know. I would still be a little hesitant to want to extend Le'Veon Bell because
Well, it's the franchise tag, so
it's the franchise tag for 1 year, which gives him the salary of the top 5 running backs in football, which is, I believe, $12.5 million, 12.8, whatever it is.
yeah, somewhere around.
But, you know, here's what my concerns are with Le'Veon Bell. He's been suspended multiple times for violating the substance abuse program. And more importantly, he's finished 4 years in the NFL, and he has yet to play a full season in the NFL. And, you know, he was doing
He's missed
very
20 he's missed
well.
20 games.
You know, so, you know, the running back position, the drop-off in that is sudden. When, you know, a guy could be all-world, and then all of a sudden, not so much. So it'll be interesting to see what they do here. But these things all being said, and I was talking to Alan off the air, and I wish Jim was here this week because I wanted to pick his
It'll wait.
Scout's brain. But where, you know, what direction are the Steelers going to go in the draft?
Yeah.
You know, and there's a number of different paths that the Steelers could take, and I've been reading about several of them, and I've heard things that said that the Steelers should go for a quarterback in the first round.
Right.
I understand that there's 4 first-round potential quarterbacks in the draft this year, but not one of them is a top 10 pick. So, you know, could somebody fall to the Steelers? That might be a move that they could make. I've also heard that the Steelers should go after a wide receiver, as it looks like Marcus Wheaton isn't going to be coming back. Sammy Coates had a questionable year.
Sure.
You know, they've got a bunch of young, unproven people. You know, do they need to get some new blood in there to give somebody to complement Antonio Brown? Martavis Bryant, he's a huge question mark. I mean, you know, is the guy going to be able to stay away from the weed long enough to make it through a season? Then there's people that say that maybe we should go for a running back, you know, because Le'Veon Bell is injury prone.
Sure.
You know, that there's nothing wrong. Then, of course, there's the defensive side of the football where people say we need a cornerback, we need a shutdown corner, and we also need help at outside linebacker because, you know, we've got James Harrison, who wants to come back, who's going to be 39 next year.
Right.
Fortunately, we're waving goodbye to Jim's favorite outside linebacker from Georgia. Jarvis Too Slow Jones won't be back. So, you know, linebackers, there's going to be a need. So what are they going to do? Well, you know, all this being said, watch, they'll probably draft a punter in the first round.
We still got questions. No,
Yes.
it's great to talk about it this time of the year because you see, you know, the taste of the loss is still there. And
The taste of the loss is still in. This week is the combine.
Right.
I personally would rather watch mold grow on cheese in my refrigerator than watch the combine because
I've never watched the combine.
you know,
Yeah.
but I mean, for people that are scouts, you know, I don't know if, you know, personally myself, if I wanted to know what kind of a football player, you know, I would watch him play football. I'd watch game tapes.
Smoking Jim does it. He watches a couple of days.
How high he can jump or how fast he can run. You know, these guys train to be able to jump the highest, run the fastest for this weekend. That doesn't necessarily mean that speed's going to equate to where they're going to end up being. You know, so, you know, I want to see what kind of football skills they have. Are they always at the point of attack, or like Jarvis Jones, are you always chasing the guy that's running with the
2
ball
yards behind.
down the field?
Yeah. And some people are ball hawks. The ball seems to gravitate towards them.
Yes, yeah.
And that shows up in a lot of the film that's out there and these, you know, combines. What's that show you?
Well, and they probably got film on these guys all the way back to the Pee Wee football.
Oh,
I'm sure they do.
there's no doubt.
But, you know, here's some other interesting developments in the NFL. Jamal Charles got cut by the Kansas City Chiefs, and Adrian Peterson, the Minnesota Vikings, chose not to pick up his option for 2017, which would have counted $18 million against their cap this year. So Adrian Peterson
decisions.
is not an $18 million running back, and if he does want to continue to play in the NFL, what will he sign for? That will be interesting to see.
Well, he has some baggage because of his injuries and
Other off-the-field issues.
Off the field issues,
you know.
they're definitely out there, you know, that he carries with him. So it will be interesting to see who might take a shot on him.
Right, exactly, because they're not going to get the money that they had signed them for, and that's the drawback with
Right.
NFL contracts. Why I feel that the NFL Players Association does a disservice to their players, because you sign these $68 million contracts and the team doesn't have to pay a large portion of them to you.
Well, their leadership has led the way on doing this, and that's the price that they pay.
Yeah,
No
sure.
pun intended.
You know,
and
you
it's a
look at what
problem.
major league players get. I mean, personally, I don't think any professional athlete's contract should be guaranteed. But, you've got
Yeah.
people working for you instead of whatever ulterior motives they may have.
Well, definitely, and it is an entertainment. The sports are entertainment because look at the contracts that they have, billion-dollar contracts, with the television stations that help funnel the money there, and the fan bases in different areas and TV.
Oh, exactly. Way too much money. But you know what? I buy into it because I buy tickets to Pirate games.
Yeah.
I
You're
watch.
part of it.
I will watch the games on television. So I'm not part. I'm part of the problem, I guess.
Well, you like the sport, you want to enjoy it, you gotta watch games. You know, so I mean that's how simple it is. It works out well there. Okay, just checking out. Wasn't sure if we had a technical difficulty or anything. We're looking
So
good.
so the Steelers are getting themselves set up. They're getting all their ducks in a row, and you realize that they've almost invested over $100 million in the offense in the last couple of years, between extending Ben, signing Bell for the
Antonio.
franchise tag, Antonio Brown, and are we putting too much money into the offense? Because as great as we think these players are, the number one offense in the NFL this year was the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
And they averaged about 35 points a game. And the Steelers were talking about, they should average 30 points a game, and that didn't happen.
No.
So at some point, for them to be successful and to make a splash in the postseason, they're going to have to start being that
Well,
kind
again,
of
they
offense.
need healthy players. We need their offensive line, which played pretty well, to stay healthy.
Yes.
That can only help. Ben's getting old. A lot of people are saying the mileage he has because of all the sacks that he took his first
And
so many years.
he took a beating.
It was 40-some sacks or more each year. So, I mean, this past year it was, about 20, but that was a rarity with what goes on. So it catches up to you.
And he still missed games this year.
Yeah.
Or at least one.
Right.
Against the Patriots, where
And
Landry
who
Jones.
knows with his knee and ankle injuries on how severe they were and what they limited him on, because they're all hurt.
No,
towards the end of the
the
season.
thing is, every time you have surgery,
Even if they're just cleaning out a little
you're
knee.
never the same as you were before the surgery.
Right.
I've had 3 knee surgeries, and I can attest to it. So
We got it right from the horse's mouth.
yeah,
He just
or the
can't
horse's,
do that. He
or
can't
the
do that
horse's
40.
hind end, whichever one you want.
He can't do that 40 like he did the year before. But we'll work on that.
I sure
But we'll
can.
see. It's always fun to speculate. It's a little too early for that, but the draft will be coming up. We'll have Smoking Jim and Chip talking about that, in the next few weeks, couple weeks, when Smoking Jim's back with us. Here's what struck me as odd. Kirk Cousins became the first quarterback to get a franchise tag 2 years in a row. What an odd situation there. Shows that they have some faith in him, but not that much that they don't want to work out a long-term deal with him past 2017.
And I believe that's Jay Gruden's team.
Yes, yes, it is.
And I don't know how well he plays with others. That's John Gruden's younger brother.
Yes.
And, John Gruden was an offensive guru.
Legend.
Look what he did with the Los Angeles Raiders, or was that the Oakland Raiders at that time?
Who
He brought
knows?
he brought them to the Super Bowl. He won a Super Bowl in Tampa with
Dungy's.
Tony Dungy's team, which I'm sure if Jim was here would say should be Tony Dungy's second Super Bowl, but
It wasn't.
almost like Mike Tomlin's first Super Bowl wasn't won by him, and it was, but that's just a matter. That's a matter of opinion.
Yes, and that'll keep going on. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But there's some strange things that happen. I just thought that was an odd occurrence. First time that happened.
Well, and,
since-
if they have enough faith in him to pay him those amount of dollars for 2 years, what's the sticking point? Is he asking for more than he's worth?
Yeah.
You know,
Who knows?
but you know, in the NFL, if you have starting experience as a quarterback in the NFL, somebody will back up the Brinks truck.
Well,
for you.
$24 million this year he's getting on a franchise tag.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
Not bad work if you can get it, huh?
I don't know how you negotiate from that, you know, if you're going a few years further, because he is setting records, but then some of the players that he has, they may not be as good, and, you know, what they do as a team, you know. And then the other unknown is the owners, Dan Snyder, who's
and he gets
ruined many a year.
And Dan Snyder is probably one of the few owners in the NFL that could screw up a one-car funeral.
And he has.
And he's done it time and time again. So you give him enough rope, he'll hang himself. Maybe that's the reason why he's not pulling the trigger on a multi-year contract for him. Because he's been burned so done. Because you just look back at what he did with Albert Hainsworth, and
that'll put the kibosh to it.
you know that was the worst. They said that was the worst free agent signing of all time.
Yeah, no, it's something else. Then I heard some other news, since we're talking different sports, but then I hear about Randy Moss and Terrell Owens and
Bill Polian, who used
come out
to
saying that they didn't play with others, and they should not be Hall of Famers. And he's a Hall of Famer himself.
Well, and here's what his line of thinking was, and you know, and if this is what you're going to use to measure whether or not somebody belongs in the Hall of Fame, and I think that the criteria for a person to get into the Hall of Fame should be pretty strict. I mean, not just, you know, the ticket into the Hall of Fame is not statistics and nothing else. Okay, and I think that really the character of the person that played, what kind of a teammate they were, you know, the way they respected the game. Now here you got Randy Moss, probably one of the greatest wide receivers that ever played the game. When he felt like it, he would take plays off, and he even said so. You know.
Yeah, but here's what I say. Maybe because he was too honest and naive. He had 17 touchdown passes his first year, and all he said is he ran the fly route. But he got 17 touchdown passes his rookie year, which shows that the skills, he was above and beyond.
He was the skills. And same thing with Terrell Owens. But, you know.
He was a terrible teammate.
He was a terrible teammate. And if you're going, you know, because here's what's happening now. Since the NFL has gravitated towards a pass-happy league, statistics for wide receivers are being inflated, so that now what you used to think like, wow, like 1,000 receptions in football was like a 3,000 base hit guy in baseball.
Well, speaking of their receptions, they're number 2 and number 3 behind Rice. So it should count for something.
It should count for something.
Terrell Owens at 38, they wanted him as a receiver. They signed him to a contract at 38. But it shows how he played with others, and as you mentioned, like some don't.
You know, here's what I like about the fact that they're being held out, because it's so important to them and their egos that they get in, that they have to have that, okay?
Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe, you know, there's something to be said about not being a complete idiot every chance you get a TV camera on you, you know, because that's the one thing about professional sports that I've really, that turns me off. I was brought up old school. I know you were.
Yeah,
you know, act as if you've been there before, you know. And, you know, everybody's got to sit there and I just caught a pass, and everybody look at me like, well, dude, that's what you get paid to do. I mean, you know, it's like you're not doing anything special. You know, it's like, okay, you catch the ball, you know, they're paying me millions of dollars to do it. Great. Do you have to jump up and down and say, everybody look at me, you're on national TV?
Out of a sock or something,
yeah,
or
you know,
whatever nonsense.
You know, just you know, do your job. I mean, the guys that do it with dignity and grace. Oh, you know what I was thinking? You know, this thought came to me, and I wanted to ask Jim about this week.
What's
but
that?
I'm going to put it out there for him. Maybe he can answer me next week. What would you think if the Steelers, in say maybe the 3rd or 4th round of the draft, went after James Conner of Pitt?
Whoa, I like it.
You know, I mean,
he's a character guy. He's got a
beat
ball
cancer.
Player.
He's been practicing down on the south side for 3 or 4 years.
That would
Knows
be
the
nice.
facilities.
You may be on to something there, Chip.
Would be something. I think, to be honest with you, I think he would be available come third or fourth round in the draft. I don't see him being a first round back,
Yeah.
but
You never know.
you know what? That might be something the Steelers might want to, because you want to talk about somebody that works hard. I mean,
Yeah.
his
He'd come
work
back
in the
from-
weight room at Pitt was legendary.
Yeah, definitely. You might be on to something there, Chip.
We'll see.
We'll have to stay tuned.
Start a
for that
movement.
one.
We'll start a movement.
Yeah. Smoking Jim, if you're listening or when you watch us, what are your thoughts about James Conner there, and the character that he brings to a team? Which that means a lot.
I mean, that would be nothing but a positive. And you know what? He's the kind of back that the Steelers love.
He can
You
catch
give
a
him the
ball
ball,
out
he
of-
can run between the tackles, and you give him
He
the
can
ball at
catch
the
it-
1
he
yard
can catch a
line.
ball too. So
Give him the ball in the 1 yard line. How many times in a row is he going to get in the end zone?
yeah,
Quite a few, I'm sure.
be nice to see. Got me thinking there.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
I have some ideas.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good one. Well, we got about 7.5 minutes to go. I just wanted to bring up, there's Golden Gloves boxing each weekend. Fights are coming out. We'll probably be filming the Hall of Fame Golden Gloves come near the end of March at the Royal Place. Check us out when that happens. But a lot of great young boxers, a lot of great interest in the area about the boxing, and a lot of parents are involved in it. Boxing has a resurgence here in the Pittsburgh area.
As a matter of fact, the Pittsburgh fighters went to Cuba.
Yes.
And I think they lost, 6-4?
Yes.
This time, but they had a good showing for themselves.
Yeah, there were
fighting
a
some
lot of-
international
lot of pictures.
competition.
A lot of great guys were there and had a great time.
And it's great to see that they can get international competition, because I'd like to see. I remember how the United States used to always dominate in the Olympic boxing.
Yeah.
And you look at how many American Olympic boxers went on to win world
Bro,
championships.
Almost all of them.
You haven't seen a lot of that lately, and
No.
I'd like to see that come back.
Well, we do see a lot of women now that are boxing and winning these tournaments and things, so that could be it too. And they're pro boxers out there, so it's expanded. To me, it's hard to get used to women boxers, but I've had them on my show, and I go, how's that when you're getting punched in the face? And they're like, hey, I'm good with that. I get a chance to punch her in the face too. But they're great athletes. They work hard. Got a lot of gyms in the area that help promote that. They're keeping kids out of trouble. And that's one of the biggest things. It's a violent sport, but these aren't violent kids, young women, young men. I mean,
And you know what? Getting the kids in the gym gets them off the street and getting into things that they shouldn't be getting into. And speaking of boxing, a friend of the show, you've interviewed multiple times, Greg Rudolph, the lumberjack.
Yeah.
He won his second professional fight Saturday night.
undefeated as a professional.
As a professional. So congratulations, Greg.
Yeah.
Continued success. Pittsburgh Sports Line's behind you.
Definitely, and Victor Olive is good friends with him, and he works for him at Watson Chevrolet. And Monte Eberhardt, he has a fight coming up, an undefeated boxer in March, so we'll stay tuned for that. We'll have more reports on that. A lot of local boxers are out there, as we've seen them grow up into this, Chip, so great point bringing it up. And they're boxing locally, which that's great, and they're getting some publicity with TV out there too. So it's another.
Hey,
good
you
thing.
know what? And I'm glad to see that they're having some success, and they're great role models. And I know all of these people do give back to the community. They
help with charities.
They help with toy drives at Christmas time, food banks,
Oh, yeah.
and more importantly, they're devoting their time and their effort to the children.
Sure.
To help show them good role models. And
Greg Rudolph's daughter, Gia's a cancer survivor. She's been cancer-free a few years now.
Good
so,
for her.
I mean, there's things out there like that. Another side to this violent sport. It's not just the violence getting hit in the face or hitting somebody else in the face. They do a lot of things in the community there, and this has been going on for a long time. It's just good stuff, good people out there.
Oh, yeah,
good trainers out there who
no
are
question.
all about it. It's a good thing.
And then you've got Jimmy Savetic, who's, every time they interview somebody on TV, he is always, and it's always about the kids. That's what he always says. Anytime I've seen anybody interview him, it's always about the kids. And I really like the people
they
give
take
back.
them in. You got guys like Jack Mook, who adopted a couple kids, and Josh and Jesse. They become great fighters. They actually help kids come off the street from Northside,
Yes.
Steel City Boxing. They bring them in. They don't have to pay anything.
Get the
They set
guns
'em up.
out of their hands and get them in the gym, and they can become productive members of society.
No, it makes a big difference. I'm glad to be associated with this, and our show is. And thanks for bringing that up, Chip, because it's an integral part of what we do in the community here.
Sure, yeah. Hey, we're just coming down to, we got about 3.5 minutes left or so. But I wanted to bring up, we mentioned about the Penguins, and
Yeah.
we mentioned about Marc-Andre Fleury. Well, the Penguins made a move today, which I don't know if it's going to be something that's going to be in conjunction, because the trade deadline is at some point tomorrow. I don't know the exact time. But they put Eric Fair on waivers.
Whoa.
Now, Eric Fair is, once he clears waivers, they can send him down to Wilkes-Barre, Scranton. What that move right there does is it frees up $2 million in cap space for the Penguins, because they're right up against the cap, because
Sure.
hockey, as football, they have a salary cap, okay? So the Penguins, as well as the Steelers, pay up to the cap. That's what they, to be
And they've done
successful,
it.
that's what you have to do. So by freeing up some money, now I know that the Penguins were in a bidding war with the Washington Capitals for a defenseman named Shattenkirk last night, and he was from St. Louis, and apparently Washington got him. Now the only the thing is with him is, come the end of the season, he's an unrestricted free agent. So basically,
You're renting a player.
Washington's renting him right now in the event that this is going to be the piece to the puzzle that they're going to need to get them to a Stanley Cup. But there is one thing that the Washington Capitals have to worry about, and they do this all the time. They always trip over the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Sure. It's traditional.
It's traditional. Alex Ovechkin, just it seems to be that's their kryptonite. The Capitals' kryptonite is Sid Crosby and the
They
Pittsburgh
have been
Penguins.
playing some of the best hockey in the NHL. though.
Well, last year they won the President's Cup, and I have always said,
That's no guarantee.
The President's Cup winner very seldomly wins the championship, and so
holds true.
What's going to happen now? We've got 17 games in 32 days coming up here. We're starting off with a game tonight against Dallas Stars. I know Chris Letang didn't even make the road trip, so he's still going to be out with an upper body injury at least the next 2 games. Connor Sheary is getting closer. He's not going to skate tonight. The next game, we'll see what happens.
We need these guys healthy.
He's day to day. So basically what the Penguins got to do is they've got to get their players healthy, and they got to get some playing time under their belts so that they're peaking as they go into the playoffs.
Right. It seems like they're setting up for it. And if by chance we do trade Fleury, a defensive player could be nice.
Well, and you know what? And even if they don't trade Fleury, Jim Rutherford said that, he would be okay if we didn't trade Fleury. Be a nice insurance policy for us going into the playoffs in the event that Matt Murray gets hurt.
Yeah. Hey, you always have that risk. Look at how they charge these goaltenders. They go flying in on them.
Well,
Take some punishment there.
And the heat gets turned up in the playoffs.
Yeah, that it does. Well, I appreciate you watching our show. Thanks to Devin Shea, Tessa, Chris Satter came in. Ethan's here. We appreciate it. Thanks, Chip Hayner, for being here. And we did pretty good without Smoking Jim Frazier.
Hey, we always miss him. Jim is a great presence here, but we held the torch for you, my friend.
And Smoking Jim Frazier, we'll see you next week. Stay Joey strong.